Shamaya, you did it.
STL Music.
Is that good? Welcome back to the show. Yo, listen up, we back in the game. Sweet believe we got the flame. Motivated to the fullest every single day. We wake up, get in every way. Right to the truth, on the global inspiration. Talk this sports and top news, no hesitation. Sweet the league is back. We always coming back, that's a fact. Wanna tell them that STL Music, mama, we did it, where we at? Coach Jill in the house with the flow so tight. Every girl, rubber rock stats, we unite. Yeah, the best show, Monday through Friday. If this ain't different, they lying. We got the energy. When I say sweep, you say the league. Sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league, sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. Sweep the league. San Antonio, let's go.
Hi, it's Sherilyn, and you're watching Sweep the League TV. Follow me on Instagram at official Sherilyn for more content.
Hey, this is George Iceman Gervin, and you're listening to Sweep the League Radio.
What is up? It is the Thirsty Thursday edition of Sweep the League. We got a full panel tonight. We welcome everybody to the big show. It is Rudy Campos Jr., the rated R sports star, the sports break kid, whatever you want to call me. You just cannot call me Hall of Famer just quite yet. We do have a Hall of Famer, obviously, on the show, and we got the coach himself, Coach Gio, joining us tonight. We're going to start our football talk. We're going to crank up the bus. We're going to go through some bold predictions that were predicted on NFL.com. We're going to get into some Jerry talk, some Dak talk. We're going to get into some NFL, just overall NFL football. Thursday night football is going to be Sweep the League night for NFL football. It starts tonight. I'm excited, man. We got to get into some NFL talk here. We got to finally get all these conversations, all these topics going here. Again, welcome to Sweep the League, the Thursday night Thirsty edition. Rudy Campos Jr., MCS General Contracting, Special Leaf Tea, La Cocina Taco Truck, and Castro and Sons Solar, all partners of Sweep the League. Go out to their Facebook pages, their Twitter pages, everywhere they are. Like them, share them, do everything. They're great sponsors of Sweep the League. Shout out to Locked On Spurs as well, Jeff Garcia. Let's bring on the panel, man. First and foremost, let's bring in the Hall of Famer himself, Derek Gervin. Derek, how are you doing tonight, man?
Hey, a little tired tonight, but I'm here, so hey, all is well, man. How about you?
I'm good, man. I'm doing good. I'm doing even better because why is it for the past couple of days Daniel Jones has been sucking in training camp, and then all of a sudden we get the coach himself back on the show because, hello, Daniel Jones has been tearing it up in training camp, Gio.
Daniel Jones, he's tearing up my heart when I'm with you, right? So this is your guy, Rudy. This is the make or break year.
It is the make or break year. He had a nice little slant route to Malik Neighbors today, but let's not forget that is that's with horrible practice, right there. One of the comments that we saw from Chris Gonzalez, I got to go back to it here. It was something about, did you get these cameras from Canada? I don't know what camera he's talking about. I'm assuming the cameras that were on. I have no idea, but speak a little bit about that, Chris. Got to get those. Appreciate Tim and Chris for joining us on the chat here. This first segment, we're gonna get it right into, man, because this first segment is gonna be all NFL talk. We got to definitely get into some NFL. Finally, college football is gonna be on tap as well. Gio predicts his Georgia Bulldogs are gonna be the number one team in America. I don't even think they're the number one team in the SEC, but we'll save the college football talk for another day, for another time. We got to get into the NFL. This is the NFL here on Sweep the League. right. First segment is brought to you by MCS General Contracting. MCS, laying the foundation for families and builders and, your new home, everything, patios, just anything concrete. MCS General Contracting is your number one and only option. Proud sponsors of Sweep the League. Chris Lehau's in here. What's up, my brothers? What is up, Chris? How you doing? NFL talk, man. Women's soccer coach was fired for spying. There we go. So last night we were talking about soccer. So the Canadian women's soccer coach was fired for spying. There we go. Soccer just doesn't seem to amaze me, man. It's like they went full Patriots on everything else, man.
Oh, Spygate, really long time ago. Distant memory. Bill Belichick has done many, let's just say, spying things in his past, but he's still a really good coach.
Oh, yeah, he's a hell of a coach, man. We're going to get into some bold predictions. I want to get your guys' takes on this. This is going to be our first talk of NFL. So on NFL.com, Judy Batista gave us 10 bold predictions, and I want to get into this here because this is some good stuff. Her first bold prediction, guys, we're going to start with Derek Gervin here because I know how much Gio is in love with his guy. So we're going to start with Derek first so I can let Gio shine on the back end here. But her first bold prediction are the Chicago Bears are going to make the playoffs.
Playoffs?
Now, playoffs, exactly. They've got a team. They got a team. I just don't know if they have an actual quarterback. That's been my problem here. But nonetheless, she's predicting a bold prediction of the Chicago Bears making the playoffs, Derek. Buying or selling that?
Well, I haven't gotten into my football mode yet, so I'm going to apologize to everybody, but I'm into it enough to know that I'm going to sell that. I like Caleb Williams. I think he has potential to be a good quarterback. I don't think he's going to be a great quarterback like some people say, but we'll find out. But I'm going to sell. I don't think they make the playoffs this year.
Derek is selling, Gio. Are you buying or selling? Judy's prediction for the Bears making the playoffs.
Hey, I'm buying the Bears making it to the playoffs. Let's go, Chicago Bears. Listen, this is a franchise that's been in the dump. I need my prediction to turn out very well. And if the Bears make the playoffs, that definitely means my predictions went very well. I took a look at the schedule, Rudy, probably a month or two ago. I think it's a very winnable schedule. I mean, they're playing the Colts, the Panthers, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Commanders. They're starting out young. They got the Patriots, the Cardinals. Look, they got an opportunity here to really ride the ship, ride the momentum. Obviously, we haven't seen them play at all, so we don't quite know what to expect. But I think it's very possible. We saw the Texans last year, the Texans, who were picked ready to win, 2, 3, or 4 games?
Yeah,
and they go on that run.
Are you really saying Caleb Williams is CJ Stroud?
Rudy, no one thought that CJ Stroud was going to do this last year. I don't care what anybody says.
We knew he was the
Stroud,
better quarterback out of between him and Bryce Young. You had to have known that.
Sure. I mean, what he did against the Georgia Bulldogs in that playoff game was definitely eye-opening. And we didn't see a lot of running, but in that game against Georgia, which came down to a missed kick, but Rudy, no one really saw the Texans making the. Sure, we thought potentially he could be a better player, but I don't care what anybody says, and they're lying to you. They said the Texans were going to make the playoffs last year.
No, I didn't expect.
I think it's a good. Hey, it's a bold statement for a reason. So I'm buying that the Bears can make the postseason.
All right, you're buying it. For me, I'm going to go ahead and, you know what? I'm going to sell, but I'm going to reluctantly sell the Bears making the playoffs. Because of the schedule, and let me take Caleb Williams out of the picture. They have offensive weapons that are monsters. So he doesn't have to be super Caleb Williams. He doesn't have to have a CJ Stroud type of year. He just has to take care of the ball. He's just got to make basic passes. He's got the receivers. He's got the running back. He's got a great tight end in Cole Kmet. So if Caleb can just take care of the ball, make the basic passes, just run the offense, I think the Bears do make it because their schedule is relatively weak. I mean,
are you saying Caleb Williams is being brought in to just manage the game?
Oh my God! Or we're gonna go the manage route. No, I mean he's brought in to be a franchise quarterback. He's brought in to make plays, which I believe he can make plays. But where I feel is he's the type of quarterback that I think will try to do too much, and that's where you see a lot of these young guys get in trouble. Just allow the plays to happen. Allow the plays to just play themselves out. Make the right read. If it's not there, don't force it. How many times do we say that all the time? Don't force it if it's not there. You know, if you got to scramble, scramble. But I feel like you may try to force the ball a little bit more than the coach staff's going to want him. So no, I don't think he's here to manage the game, but I think he's here to kind of just run the offense, just make your plays, but be smart. He's got to be smart with a schedule like this.
Well, look, I mean, Rudy, he's a smart kid. He's his own man. He does what he wants.
Is he?
I'm hoping that the offense, like, they have a lot of weapons. They're a decent run team last season. They protect them back there with those receivers. They still got Cole Kmet there at tight end. Rudy, they have the ability to be a sleeper team. And when you look at the quarterback coming in, he's young, yes, but a lot of these quarterbacks nowadays, Rudy, look, they're coming in a lot better than what they obviously used to, a la some of those QB busts. But if you're a number one pick the last few years, or at least the top 5 or top 10, you're pretty good. Herbert, Tua, I don't even remember what Daniel Jones was picked, but hey, he still has a starting job, right? So I think he's gonna. I think he's still gonna be fine. And look, the schedule, they got some winnable games, some tough ones, but I think they can manage the schedule, and if they can just run the football, keep them out of harm's way, I think they could be a sleeper team.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think, like I said, they could make the playoffs. Ray Dean's in here. Why not pay Dak? He's top 5. Make no sense. And definitely, we're going to get into the Cowboys talk. Give us to the second half of the show. We're getting back into some Cowboys talk because Jerry had some very questionable words earlier for the press conference. Dak Prescott had some very questionable words at the press conference that they held earlier. So we're going to get into that Cowboy talk here in the second half. We'll read you off of what they said. JC's in here, special leave himself. Evening, gentlemen. Rain starting back up. Here we go again. Glad to be talking home. Got to be home talking sports with y'all for sure. The rain's here, and it's going to rain for a little bit here tomorrow, and Saturday is supposed to have some really bad rain here in San Antonio. Prediction number 2. Again, these are on NFL.com. We're taking Judy Batista's predictions, or 10 bold predictions. Number 2, starting off with Gio. The New York Jets make the playoffs, but they lose in the divisional round. Buying or selling that?
Wow.
I could see that. I mean, look, I don't know what to make of the Jets just yet. Aaron Rodgers, look, he's
Super Bowl.
He looks like he's in good shape from what I've seen so far in camp, and he has a lot to prove. I know he wants to prove a lot. This coaching staff, really, their jobs are on the line. I think it's safe to say if they don't get to the postseason, or at least, if they don't get there, I think Salah's done, and I think this is potentially not necessarily a kind of legit rebuilds the following season, but definitely going towards that route. But as of right now, I could definitely see them in the postseason. Last year, Verdi, I actually picked them to make a playoff run, but unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers gets hurt in the first game and ends that. Mm-hmm. But I could definitely see them getting in, and then potentially, once the postseason happens, you get exposed. If you can't run the ball, got to make plays. And we've seen that offensive line kind of be up and down,
but they've improved the offensive line. They have improved the offensive line.
Mekhi Becton's not there anymore, Rudy, and I don't know if you saw, but Mekhi apparently threw up 10 times in Eagles camp, so it's probably good that he's not there. Not sure. It sounds like he's not necessarily in the greatest shape. It sounds like again, but for the Jets, it's going to come down to Aaron Rodgers. Where they got the defense. The defense is there. The defense is there. Can he put together? They got a talented running back room as well. So they got the pieces. Can Aaron Rodgers, if he goes back to MVP season, but to lose in the divisional round, Rudy, is that what they're saying?
They're saying she's predicting them to make playoffs, but lose in the divisional round. I don't see that.
Could they get the number 1 seed and then lose in the divisional round? I mean, that's definitely obviously possible.
Man, that's a good one.
I'm gonna. Aaron Rodgers in the postseason isn't great, Rudy, but I'm going to sell. I think, man, it's so soon to tell. It's so early because I haven't seen him do anything on the field yet. So,
well, let's assume that every team we talk about is healthy. Let's just assume they're healthy.
If they're healthy, I'm going to sell. I think they'll win a divisional game.
They should. Derek, are you buying or selling the Jets making the playoffs but losing in the divisional round?
I'm selling that, but I'm buying them making the playoffs. I don't think they're going to lose in the divisional round this year. I think Aaron's going to come out and have a spectacular year and remind people who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got some weapons around him now, offensively and defensively. And I think the Jets, I kind of been on the bandwagon since the end of last season. I just thought I saw some improvement. And then when you bring Aaron in for a full calendar season, I think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't see them losing the divisional playoffs this year. So I guess I'm selling that.
Yeah, I'm sticking with my prediction right now. I'm taking the Jets in the Super Bowl for the AFC. I'm sticking with that. Ooh. A healthy Jets team. You're right, Gio. I mean, all jokes aside, the defense for the Jets is stellar. It's Super Bowl quality defense. A healthy Aaron Rodgers with the weapons that he has, definitely it makes a huge difference. Now, I know the Chiefs, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. They are the Chiefs, and they actually they gained a weapon in Xavier Worthy. But again, what people don't realize is last year's Super Bowl Chiefs, it was the defense. The defense won the Super Bowl for them last year and was the reason why they got back to the Super Bowl. Not knocking Mahomes and not knocking Kelsey, but the defense was the reason why they got back to Super Bowl and won. So you lose L'Jarius Sneed from the Chiefs. So that's already a knock on Kansas City. I love what the Jets are doing. I love that they rebuilt that offensive line. I'm taking the Jets. I'm selling this right here. They're not going to lose the divisional round. If they're healthy, they're getting way past that. So MCS General Contracting sponsors the Sweep the League. This is a segment is brought to you by MCS General Contracting. We'll get a couple more in here before we go to our first commercial break. We're going to do some popular ones here. The Chiefs three-peat. Are we buying or selling a Chiefs three-peat? We'll start with Gio on this one first.
Sell. Look, this is in NFL. This is uncharted waters here. A three-peat it's not common, Rudy, right? Most teams,
no.
The last team to three-peat, I'm trying to think. I mean, I know Cowboys won 3 and 4 years, but a three-peat, I just don't see it coming.
Mm-mm.
History will tell you that this team somehow, some way may go through injuries, players not living up to expectations, not necessarily Patrick, but just the team as a whole. But a three-peat, I just don't see it with the AFC. Joe Burrow's coming back, the Jets and that defense ready to go. Whatever's left of the Buffalo Bills, the Dolphins are going to be there. Look,
the entire AFC North is loaded.
The North, and also Joe Burrow. Listen, he was in the Super Bowl a few years ago already. He's beaten Mahomes before in the playoffs, so he's coming back with that new hairdo. Which Rudy, I know people like to talk about Eminem, but he also gave me that Cody Rhodes type of look.
Oh,
right?
You had to bring in that WWE
finishing the story, Rudy. Some sort of kind of WrestleMania thing. Hey,
can we, Shamaya? I know you're on this. Can we kind of crop this and cut this, because that's a big ass TikTok short right there by Gio saying the Cody Rhodes look for Joe Burrow. The unfinished story. That's perfect, man.
Dude, you know what? I saw the photo and said, yeah, I see Eminem, but I also see a little bit of Cody Rhodes there trying to finish that up. So they're going to be ready to go. And look, the Texans, right? The surprise team last season.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, can he get things going in Cleveland? If the Chiefs three-peat, Rudy, I mean, it would be an amazing story, but history would tell you, especially in the NFL, it's just not going to happen.
Derek, buy, selling, Chiefs three-peat. Now, we've got people in here. Chris Leha, MCS General Contracting, says the Chiefs will three-peat. He believes they will. You just can't sleep on them the last couple of years. Tim Gonzalez saying the Ravens, don't be surprised Leha did ask, did they fix the offensive line for the Bengals? They actually improved, I think, on the offensive line for the Bengals. It wasn't a massive upgrade, but they did have some improvements there. But again, the three-peat for the Chiefs, Derek, that to me, that's a really hard pill to swallow.
Well, for me, it's not really a hard pill to swallow because it seems like when the playoffs come, I don't know if teams just keep the Chiefs hanging around, or I don't know what it is. Is it the Pat Mahomes aura? I think this year I got the Lions and the 49ers over them right now, but anytime you got Patrick Mahomes, it's hard for me to sell because it just seems in the playoffs, man, he finds a way to win. If they losing in the first half, he finds a way. Him and Andy Reid in the second half, they make the adjustments. The defense seems to just find it. They get back on the same page in the second half. So it's hard to go against Mahomes, but I'm gonna do the right thing and I'm gonna go against him. I'm gonna say Detroit Lions or 49ers right now will be my favorites.
Those are his favorites for Super Bowl champs. And for me, can I put the Chiefs on layaway? Put my money down, but I have a chance to take my money back in case. But no, if I got to go with one, Buffalo went to 4 straight and they didn't win. We know how hard it is to go to 4 straight Super Bowls, let alone back-to-back Super Bowls. It's super hard. Do I think the Chiefs have a chance to get back to the Super Bowl? I mean, yeah, Derek mentioned it. Patrick Mahomes, it's hard to bet against him. And I think they have a chance, but I would put that chance at about 20-25% right now. I think there's other teams in the AFC. Like we mentioned, the AFC North is super loaded, man. Super loaded. You've got a Texans team that went from a very high of all highs to just going in the offseason and just reloading. I mean, just adding player after player. Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs, Danielle Hunter, on the defensive side. I mean, they just added so many pieces. So that's why the Chiefs are kind of like, okay, well, we added Xavier Worthy, but we lost one of our best defensive players. And then you're hoping that Chris Jones stays healthy the entire year because he's pretty much your only defensive anchor. So that's where it's kind of like, golly, I'm going to sell on the fact that the Chiefs three-peat.
I'm listening to you. They weren't even the best team last year. And I hate to say it, but I'm being honest, man.
Yeah, they weren't.
Sometimes you just goes where the team that matches up well against you come up a little short. And, Gio, you saw my team drop about 10 passes, open passes, the Detroit Lions. I just thought that they were a better team than the Chiefs, man. We just couldn't get over that San Francisco hump. That's why I picked those 2 teams over Kansas City. Kansas City didn't look like the team that they've looked in the past few years. I don't think they were the same team. We know Tyreek Hill has been gone now, second year. But I think they kind of took a step back last year. And I think this year they're going to take another step back. So when you guys say about the 20 to 25%, I can get with that. I can definitely get with that.
I mean, look.
There you go.
As long as they got Mahomes at quarterback, the Chiefs have a chance. And when they get to the postseason, something changes in his demeanor. I mean, obviously, look, during the regular season, you're going to have games where you just don't play well, right? And the Chiefs, they had that blunder game against the Raiders. They didn't play great all year, but when it matters most, and you got that quarterback back there, you're going to have a chance. So no doubt in my mind that Mahomes is in the playoffs, which I expect they will be. He's going to have an opportunity every game. And, man, like, the Chiefs are spoiled. That's all I'm going to say. Those fans right now, they're living high, and they're riding high as well.
And don't leave Travis Kelce out.
Well, yeah, I mean, Travis Kelce. I will say Travis looked like he did take a little bit of a step back. I don't know if it's just the whole Taylor Swift, and there were some games where I saw him really where he just didn't just look like his normal self. Obviously, he's getting older, but I'm sure Travis will be ready to go. This whole team, the defensive coordinator comes back, Steve Spagnuolo, so they're going to be ready to go.
Well, they're going to make the playoff. They're the best team in that division. I mean, you've got, Justin Herbert, obviously, with the Chargers, but you've got really no receivers. Your number one is Joshua Palmer right now when it comes to the Chargers.
If the Chiefs don't win the division, then what team do you think dethrones them.
Oh man. As much as I don't know, man. I mean, I would say the Chargers only because of Justin Herbert gives them a way better chance than I would see in Denver with, Bo Nix and Zach Wilson. And then the Raiders, I like the Raiders, but I don't see anything coming out of the Raiders camp at all. I don't see them coming. I don't see them really do anything.
Yeah.
Aiden Connell's good. I'll give him that. But the struggles without, and everybody says, oh, Zamir White. I don't buy Zamir White a whole lot.
I don't know,
buy him
Rudy.
at all.
I know he's been posting a lot of those videos. He looks great. He's in some great shape.
That's what we say. I'm going to post off-season videos because I'm balling and everything.
I do agree, though. I think it's the Chargers, and it could be the Harbaugh effect. We saw him in San Francisco, Derek, and man, that 3-year run, was just spectacular. Can he strike gold with Herbert, cut some of those interceptions down, run the football, as I know he wants to do there? It's going to be interesting to see how Harbaugh kind of gets acclimated, because he could be a bit of a pest, as he used to be in the NFC West.
With Kaepernick.
Yeah.
I think Herbert's a way better quarterback than Kaepernick was.
That's the thing. Yeah.
And Harbaugh, you're talking about a former NFL quarterback as well in Harbaugh. So, the Chargers are the team outside of the Chiefs. And I just think they've got to get production for Herbert somewhere. That's the problem. Is they got to.
They got some young receivers there. It's gonna be interesting what that team looks like opening day.
Have you guys seen where they have the Chargers ranked so far at the beginning?
Don't particularly think it's good.
They got them ranked 20th.
That's what I'm saying. It's not particularly well his first season, but really, I find it hard to believe though that the Chiefs won't win this division, because it's just screaming. Unless Aiden O'Connell is, the next coming of something, and Denver. Listen, Bo Nix. I know I always joke around with him and say he's about 39 years old at quarterback, but Bo Nix is interesting. We'll see what Sean Payton does, because look, Sean got a lot out of Russell Wilson, even though he was kind of digging and dunking last season. But the Broncos could be kind of an interesting pick. But right now, the Chiefs are the class of the AFC, and I think they're going to definitely win that division.
Well, dude, Sean came out and said he loves what Bo Nix is doing right now. Bo's having a really good training camp. And,
what else are you going to say, Rudy?
Well, no. But, for all credit, Bo was one of the guys that was like that. Yeah, he's been a 20-year college player. But coming into the NFL, you got experience, you got the veteran status basically coming out of college. So I do like what Sean sees, and I do like what Bo is doing for the training camp. They're trying to hype up Zach Wilson. We saw a couple of videos. Oh, look at Zach Wilson. He's looking crisp. He's looking sharp. And it was a 5-yard pass. Like, come on.
I'll say this though, unlike the NBA, and I know coaching obviously is important, the NFL though, man, you get an offensive minded coach. I really want to see what if Sean can do anything with Zach Wilson. What can he get? Because Rudy, those highlights, and what they were just highlights coming out of BYU. Is like, oh, he can throw 60, 70 yards, and it's like, well, you play for the Jets and you have no offensive line. Good luck running around, which he actually did and kept getting hit. But we'll see what happens there.
If you look at the Broncos and you look at Zach Wilson, with Sean Payton there, maybe both of you guys can kind of maybe reel me back in, but what I see him with Zach Wilson is the same way he played with Taysom Hill in New Orleans. Kind of has that quarterback feel. Maybe has Zach as a kind of a decoy type of player. Have him run some quarterback option, something like that, because we know Zach can run. We know he can definitely run. But there's really no dynamic that Zach Wilson brings out, and that's where I kind of understand where Gio's coming from. Can he get the most out of? Can Sean get the most out of Zach Wilson?
Look at Drew Brees. He had Drew Brees, but Drew wasn't doing. He had a good season with the Chargers. He gets hurt, right? Goes to Miami, whatever the case may be, or he doesn't end up going to Miami. He ends up going to the Saints and kind of hits a home run there. I'm not saying that Zach's going to be Drew Brees, but I think Sean can get something out of him, Rudy. Something.
Yeah, I don't know. Derek, you got something for this?
Enough to make the playoffs? I don't know, man, because I know Sean is kind of relieved. Sean Payton's kind of relieved not to have to deal with the Russell Wilson thing that they went through last season. But is Zach going to even be the starting quarterback when the season rolls around? To me, I don't see him being the starting quarterback. You can use him in like that utility role that you just mentioned, like they did with the Saints. But I don't think Zach Wilson, wasn't he Gio by the time that the season was over last year? Out of 32 teams, didn't you have Mr. Wilson down near the bottom of the list in the quarterback?
I know. I mean, yeah, he was. I mean, he was doing blunders. It just didn't work out with the Jets. And sometimes you just need
you learn to slow. Yeah, it might be a different environment. You learn to slow down. You start seeing things a little easier.
Because look, I see talent. Like I see something there, Rudy. I just don't know if it's ever going to kind of come up simply because A, he's just not working, or B, he doesn't care. He does give me that kind of I don't care attitude sometimes, and as a fan kind of watching from the outside, just don't know if that's going to click. Sean can be hard on his quarterbacks. I mean, we saw what he did to Russell. You know, he was yelling at him in that game, Rudy, from the sidelines and just letting him have it. And Russell, to his credit, was a pro, and that's what he's always going to do. But for Wilson, we'll see. It's probably going to be Bo Nix. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure.
I mean, we got a comment, and Gazzato Zay here. Zach Wilson can be a good quarterback. Jets had a no O-line. I will agree with 100% with that. The Jets didn't have an offensive line. They did upgrade this offseason. Obviously, you got to protect Aaron. They did upgrade this offseason. So for Zach, they didn't have a good O-line. The Broncos O-line, I mean, it's better than what Zach had to deal with in New York. So we could possibly see, I mean, Coach Gio did say something real quick that kind of pissed me off, and he said that he saw something in Zach Wilson, and you can't even see anything in Daniel Jones. Give me a damn break, Gio. We come back.
I'm sorry. I would rather have Zach Wilson's talent and ceiling than Daniel Jones.
Oh
I just don't.
Here we go.
Rudy, his best season, the playoff season, by hook or crook, whatever you want to call it, he threw 15 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. That's all you got to know. In this modern day, Derek, of throwing the football, my starting quarterback had 15 touchdowns and 5. Come on, give me a break. I don't want to hear that. Rudy, you can try to sell it to somebody else, but you're not going to sell it to me.
Hey, Gio, so when you talk, do you see a flop? Did you see Daniel at some point finally getting it, the light coming on, or do you just see a flop?
Look, I always give players another chance. The change of scenery. I do like Brian Daboll a lot. I think he's a good offensive mind. We saw what he did in Buffalo and really changed that offense. You saw how the Bills kind of didn't do too well the last few years, particularly down the stretch. But look, I think as all jokes aside on Jones, I think he could be a good quarterback. He kind of just gets in his way, Rudy, a lot of turnovers just take her to football. But he's athletic. He's faster than you think. He had that one run, Rudy, where they ran like 80 yards and he got tripped up.
He didn't get tripped up. He tripped himself up.
Yeah. I was saying,
He tripped himself up.
He tripped himself up. And that kind of sums up kind of what Daniel Jones is. The offensive line should be better.
For both of you guys, so is Barkley going to be pivotal as far as what kind of season Daniel Jones has?
Honestly, save that, because that's one of the next bold predictions that we're going to get into is Saquon Barkley here. This is the halftime part of the show. We missed our first commercial break, but no worries, because I was trying to get Gio to say something nice about Daniel Jones, which he won't ever say nice about Daniel Jones. When we get back, we're going to talk about more bold predictions, and also at the end of the show here, we're going to get into some Cowboys talk. Jerry had some choice words, and Dak had some choice words. Well, strange is probably the best word to use. We're going to get into the Jerry Jones, Dak Prescott fiasco at the press conference today, but we got more bold predictions on the way. Keep dropping them in the chats. We're going to actually get some too as well. We got some good ones. Drop them in there. We'll get to them as well. This is Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Coach Gio. And what are we going with? The Rated R Sports Star? Or are we going to go with the Sports Break Kid? I got to pick. You know what? Drop it in the comment. Whatever you want me to go by. This is Rudy Campos, Sweep the League. We'll be right back. Are you looking for a contracting company that gets the job done right the first time? Look no further than MCS General. Can you imagine a world where nature meets wellness, where every sip you take nourishes your body and soul? Introducing Special Leaf Tea. Hey guys, are you ready for a flavor?
All right, I think we're back on the air. We're having a little bit of problems with the commercial.
All right.
Yeah, so
We're actually what we'll do is apologize to our sponsors out there for commercial breaks are not working right now. We're going to work on that as we speak. So all that means is you get a lot more Sweep the League with Rudy Campos Jr., Derek, and Coach Gio. We're back, guys, with the bold predictions here. So, like I mentioned, this next segment is going to be brought to you by MCS General Contracting and La Cocina Taco Truck. Shout out to MCS and General Contracting, La Cocina Taco Truck sponsors up Sweep the League. Bold prediction time again. Mentioned Saquon Barkley. So Saquon Barkley, one of the predictions that was made by Judy Batista is this right here. Saquon Barkley just misses getting 2,000 yards from scrimmage, but the Philadelphia Eagles return to the Super Bowl. So speaking on the Barkley terms, he just misses getting 2,000 yards from scrimmage. Derek, you brought up Saquon Barkley. What do you think about that prediction right there?
Well, first, I think he's going to be healthy. So it will be hard for me to say no with a healthy Saquon Barkley. I think he's looking to bounce back and show people the guy that was drafted. And so I think he's going to do a lot out of the backfield, especially who was that, Gio, with Daniel Jones throwing the little dink passes. So, yeah, I'm going to say that I see him getting the 2,000 yards. I think that he's going to have a spectacular year. I don't know what it's going to do as far as his team and the standings, but I think Saquon's going to have an excellent year. So I'm going to say yes, that he would, 2,000.
So he's buying the fact that Saquon's going to get. Well, actually, no, he's selling because she says that he's going to miss getting 2,000.
No, I'm saying he's going, but if he's, but we said we're basing everything on if they're healthy, right?
Yeah, so
we're basing it on that. If he's healthy, I'm saying yes, that he gets 2,000 yards.
Yeah, we're basing it on health.
This is interesting, Rudy, because this offense last season had a bit of an identity crisis. I didn't know if they want to run the ball. You got A.J. Brown pouting on the sidelines because I don't get the ball. It's just, I don't know what to make of this offense. We're going to see what they are. I don't know what they are yet to really figure out if Saquon's going to get to about 2,000. Obviously, if he's healthy, I think he'll get close. But, man, this offense wants to run, but they also want to throw. And then at times they lose their identity throughout the season. That playoff game at Tampa, Derek, was just, it was bad. I mean, it was really bad.
I'm being nice.
And they were able to run the ball last year with Swift. So you change it with Saquon. Obviously, Saquon, I think, is a better player. I'm going to sell that he falls just a little bit short, Rudy, on that.
So you're buying.
I can't change now, but Gio, you brought up the young man Swift. Because last year I was like, Saquon has some competition, whether he's healthy or not. So on that, I hate to back out, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go a little below my 2,000 because you brought up Swift. I'm like, oh man, this guy came on at the end of the season and looked like a keeper. So they're gonna have to find minutes for him on the field. So that's gonna take away some of the touches for Saquon. So I'm gonna have to back out of there and say no 2,000.
Yeah,
well, Derek.
Go ahead.
Swift is actually going to the Bears.
Yeah,
he's gone.
Yeah. So he's gone.
I'm still gonna say no because I just don't think. I hate to say this part, man, because we talk about basketball a lot. Saquon kind of reminds me, lately he's been getting injured, and I don't know if he can make it through a 17-game season because they're gonna need a lot from him, and he's gonna have a lot of touches. So I just honestly think that at some point he's going to have to sit out a game or two, and I think that's why he's not going to get to the 2,000 because he's going to miss a game or two, maybe 3.
Yeah, for me, the 2,000, I'm gonna buy that because he's not going to get to 2,000. One of the comments I was made a little while ago was one of the point I was going to make. With no Kelsey there at center, it does affect the Eagles' offensive line there. Plus, the identity of the Eagles, man. I mean, think about it. You've got Brown. You've got Devontae Smith. I mean, they're going to want to throw the ball. Now, for granted, Barkley's going to catch a lot of passes out of the backfield, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But what I also feel is you're going to see a lot of Jalen Hurts still. Goal line position, Gio, it's going to be the tush push, man. Barkley's not going to get any of these touches. When there's a couple of yards needed, it's still going to be the tush push.
I'm saying, yeah, that's
what I'm saying. The is great, but not with the offensive weapons they have around Hurts. He's not going to. Barkley's not.
Hey, quick question, G. I'm sorry for both of you guys. Do you think that they still consider Saquon a franchise running back?
I mean, you paid him like it, so I would assume.
Well, they paid Zeke in Dallas, but I'm just saying, have you guys seen any fall off so far with the injuries?
Not yet. I still think he's explosive as ever, Rudy, and I think he's going to have a good opportunity in an offense that does have a lot of mouths to feed, Derek. I mean, you got those two receivers, and you obviously got Jalen Hurts, who they like to move around a lot. He's on his feet a lot, so I do think he's talented. He's just got to stay healthy. It's going to be the best offensive line we all can agree that he's played with. I think Cam Jernigan should be at center, so they should be fine still. But obviously, Kelce leaving is going to be a big hole. But I can't wait to see what the Eagles do, because I do think if he's rolling, Derek, I mean, he could have a special season. It's real possible.
Even with Hurts. Sometimes I think Hurts is about. I know he wants to win, but sometimes I think he also is about stats. A lot of times when I watch him,
and that's the thing is
with him and Saquon.
And Derek, you might have AJ Brown screaming at you on the sidelines as
like
he does every week.
Like if you miss him one time,
if you miss him one time.
And that's the thing, whose production goes down with Saquon at it. Now, I love what Little Mac says, because McCaffrey is injury prone in Carolina. He goes to the 49ers, you see MVP McCaffrey. I mean, you're seeing that. So with Saquon, remember, we can't judge what Saquon did at the Giants. There was no offensive line. I mean, he really didn't have any quarterback play. I mean, it was just bad overall for him in New York. Now, him with an explosive offense like the Eagles, you're expecting the same thing from Saquon that you are out of Christian McCaffrey, both in realistic play and for fantasy play. I mean, that's all true.
Even without Kelce?
That's what you're expecting. Now, that's what I'm saying. People are expecting Saquon to have that Christian McCaffrey type of season because he's on an explosive team. I know Kelce is a major loss for the Eagles. It's a huge loss. But then my question to you guys is, whose production goes away? I mean, Devontae Smith is probably the guy you're looking at like, well, your production is probably not going to be there. But I love Devontae Smith. He's a playmaker. So are you going to say, well, Saquon, you're going to have to take a backseat because we got to feed AJ. We got to feed Devontae. Jalen's got to get his.
I expect probably a game script, right, Rudy? If there's going to be games where Saquon's going to get the ball,
I agree.
AJ will complain, and then the next game, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of the flow. Depending on the teams that you're playing, could be calling for more runs, could be called for more passes. Saquon's going to get touches, but to Rudy's point, I would have loved him. I would have loved Saquon with the Texans, Rudy. I thought that was the team.
That made more sense.
That to me made more sense because you got the quarterback, the receiver. Yeah, Diggs could be a diva, but I just felt like with that running back, quarterback, receiver combination, that to me that would have been better. I think he'll still be great with the Eagles, but the Texans would have been a much better team.
Gio, you made me feel a lot better about my pick about Saquon not getting the 2,000 yards. Because I'm with you. Because it's kind of going to be like the Phoenix Suns when they put together. With some nights it's going to be KD. Yeah. Some nights it's going to be Devin Booker. Some nights they expect it to be Bradley Beal. And I think that's the same thing that's going to happen with Philadelphia Eagles. So that's going to take away some of those touches once again for Saquon. So, I got to go away from
that. Could be dangerous, Derek. That could be dangerous because – the locker room. What's the locker room going to be like if Saquon keeps getting touches, AJ starts doing this, and Devontae, I'm sure these receivers, they all do it at certain times. Say, hey, I want the ball. What's that chemistry going to be like? Is it fluid, right? Is it like, hey, whoever gets the ball, we're good? I don't see that happening. I just don't. I don't see that.
You two nerds, man. I'm reading Locked on Spurs. Jeff's comment. I'm sorry. At least he's not calling me a nerd. Way to go, Jeff.
But no, he wants to see. We got a small announcer. We'll announce it right now. So Jeff's listening. Locked on Spurs. Real quick before we get to that, I want to let us know because we have Louis in here from La Cocina Taco Truck. We've got Chris Leha from MCS General Contracting. JC's on the string, Special Leaf. We also have Locked On. We've got Castro Sons Solar. All of you guys, just let you know, we're having issues with StreamYard tonight. I think StreamYard's running an update, so it's hard for us to run the commercials. We'll try again here in just a little bit to run the commercials, but this is one of those episodes where it's, for whatever reason, our commercials aren't working right now. So we apologize to our sponsors, but we do definitely show you love on social media. We're gonna blast everybody on social media as well, multiple times to make up for it. But for Jeff, asking a nerd question, he can go ahead and ask it real quick. Let me drop this. We're in negotiations to cover. When I say cover, to attend and do some media stuff for Big Texas Comic Con. That's coming to San Antonio in October. Gio, I wish you could come, Gio, because this would be kind of cool for you to actually hit up with us. But
yeah, no, I need to make a trip. It's been a while since I've been down to good old San Antonio, but I think this is the year. It needs to happen.
Well, here's what it is. So we're in negotiations to hopefully cover Big Texas Comic Con. We're making the announcement right now. You see the guys, Elijah Wood, Charlie Cox. I mean, John Bernthal was announced today. The Punisher himself, Sting. I mean, we got a lot of people coming. So hopefully we get this going. But yeah, that's why Jeff brought that up, because we do want to definitely help out Big Texas Comic Con as much as we can. So for those of y'all going out there, be on the lookout. Super League might be out there as well, covering it for you. So yeah, Jeff has a nerd question he wants to bring up. So when he ever gets an opportunity, he can ask it. But, some of the comments, they're going to feed Saquon in Philadelphia. We know they're going to feed him. But what you guys brought up was the point that I wanted to make was it's Diva Land, man. This is the new era of sports. That locker room, if Saquon gets the ball and he's rushed for 140, he's caught 5 for like 90. He's got 3 touchdowns. Devontae Smith has 5 for 104 and a touchdown. A.J. Brown has 3 for 50. You mean to tell me that they're not going to walk into the locker room and be like, I want the damn ball. Throw me the damn ball. So then you go off script. And that was the other part, Gio. You said, well, it's going to depend on, who they play and the script and all that. Well, what if you have to go off script to keep your players happy, knowing, hey, the only way for us to win this game is to get the ball to Saquon and run the ball, get it out of the backfield, make the dunk and dink passes. What if that is the way to win the game, but because you have bitching from Brown or somebody else, you're like, well, I'm going to have to feed him the ball. That could cost a lot of victories for the Eagles.
You know whose job that is, Rudy? Is the head coach. And that is his job, to balance the Eagles, balance, obviously, the expectations, the game planning and all that stuff. Sirianni's going to have to really balance this out. Last season, Rudy, I thought they got exposed, especially at the end there. Mm-hmm. That game at Seattle where they were up and it was just losing a game like that. And then to lose at Tampa was just so weird. It was just such an odd game to me. Tampa's blitzing on every play, getting Jalen Hurts killed. No point intended. But to me, the coach, Rudy, this is a very important season for Nick Sirianni, because I'm going to tell you this. Eagles are not afraid to fire people, Derek. They will fire you.
Yeah.
They got rid of Doug Peterson, who won a Super Bowl.
What was their record at the beginning? Was it 9-1 or 10-1? So it was 9-1 or 10-1. And then they ended up the last 6 games, they were the worst team in the NFL. So, they just completely fell off the planet, man. I don't think I've ever seen that in all my years of watching NFL. A team has the best record coming off a championship year. You come out the next year and have the best record, and then down the stretch, you just completely fall apart.
The identity crisis, Derek. They lost their identity. A lot of people chirping. I think Saquon's obviously going to help. I mean, he's a special talent, but they're going to have to manage, as Derek said about the Phoenix Suns. One game is this guy, who's the closer, what's going to happen. Very important for Nick Sirianni to really manage all that, as well, obviously, his offensive and defensive coordinators. And also their defense was much maligned last season, up and down all year. They should be healthy. Big year for Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean. A lot of those guys got to step up and play better.
Yeah, you see little Max comment about the defense. I'm not letting Jalen Hurts off the hook either. He didn't play so great down the stretch either, man. I think one game, Gio, didn't he throw for like maybe 60 yards or 55 yards or something?
Yeah.
So it wasn't great. So I'm not going to just say the defense. Their team fell apart. And we talked about the locker room. That's what it looked like happened to them. So maybe Saquon will re-energize those guys, but they didn't look good at all going down the stretch.
At some point, they had Matt Patricia on the defense. And, Rudy, you know how I feel about Matt Patricia. I'm not going to say anything else about that.
You.
We got somebody else that was not a fan of Matt Patricia, man. This is Jeff Garcia. Okay, we're going to jump off real quick of NFL talk. I got to get to Jeff's comment because he really wanted to ask this. So the nerd question. Derek, I don't know how much you know in the comics or anything about the nerd area. So, I mean, if you know it, you know it. If not, we can definitely hedge up on this. But do you think Frank Castle, a.k.a. the Punisher, is right or wrong for seeking out revenge versus the people who took out his family and kids? And would you try to stop him or help him? Now, backstory. Frank Castle is the Punisher. The Punisher's coming to San Antonio, obviously, with Big Texas Comic Con. So backstory is, guys came in, blew away his family, his kids. They just killed his entire family, tried killing him, didn't kill him. He comes to get revenge. That's why he becomes the Punisher. He seeks vengeance on, everybody that does wrong and all that. But trying to stop him from killing. There was an episode of Daredevil. I don't know if it was Daredevil or the Punisher, where Daredevil stops Frank Castle from actually committing, crimes and all this stuff, trying to be, a good vigilante and all this other stuff. Well, personally, man, if anything happens to my family, I'm going straight Punisher. I'm going straight Frank Castle on that. And if you try to stop me, then I'm sorry, you're in my way. You're impeding my progress. You're probably going to be one of the guys or girls is probably going to get it too, because nobody's going to stop me from, taking care of my family. That's just me. But for you guys out there, Derek, Gio, you're talking about that. Would you stop a person from trying to get revenge on his family for anything that's happened on them? For me, no. Hell no.
No, I'm not gonna stop Frank. And I watched Daredevil already. Big fan of that Daredevil series. So no, I'm not stopping Frank from doing anything. Will I help him? Probably not, because
come on, man.
I'm pretty sure Frank's gonna do some outlandish things, and I don't really want any part in that. But Frank, do you, bro? Do you?
I'm like, Gio, I want him to get his revenge, but I don't know if I can participate. That'll be a little tough one for me.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna watch from afar, root for him, but Frank, you do it what you have to do. Now, Frank obviously is not going to trust the legal system in that kind of universe, Rudy, because it's all completely shady. But no,
Little Max with me. I'm with you, Rudy, and that's I guess that's the west side of San Antonio that's coming out on me. Like, you know what? I'm gonna do me. I'm just gonna do me right there. That's all. That's all. I come from Little Mexico, put it that way, on the west side of San Antonio, man.
West side?
Yeah, definitely the west side. Great question, Jeff. Again, we're hoping to cover for the Big Texas Comic Con coming with a lot of celebrities, a lot of great celebrities. If we get more information, as soon as we get more information, we'll let everybody know what's going to be happening with Big Texas Comic Con. Fingers crossed that we actually are able there to cover it for you guys, because the kind of coverage that we're going to provide is pretty big. So hopefully we can get out there and help you guys at Big Texas Comic Con. Thank you to Jeff Garcia as well for getting us in contact with them. But there was a couple of comments here. Before we get into those, let me see if we can get these commercials rolling again. Derek Irvin, Hall of Famer Derek Irvin, Coach Gio, Rudy Campos Jr. Let's see if we can get one commercial in here, man. I feel bad for our sponsors here. We'll be back. Are you looking for a contracting company that gets the job done right the first time? Look no further than MCS General Contracting. MCS specializes in top quality concrete work, including Yeah, we're having issues still. So apologize to all of our sponsors out there. MCS General Contracting, Special Leaf, La Cocina Taco Truck, and also Castro and Sons Solar. Appreciate you. Love you guys for sponsoring us. But again, we're having a little bit of issues for whatever reason. I don't know. StreamYard's acting up right now, but we're
again, we'll blast you guys out as much as we can to make up for it for tonight. Like we do on social media, but a couple of comments, that we're going to get back into. This last segment is brought to you by all of them: Special Leave Tea, MCS General Contracting, Castro and Son Solar, and La Cocina Taco Truck, all sponsors of Sweep the League. Our last segment will be brought to you by all four of them. So, Derek, Little Mac saying you're right about Jalen Hurts. Didn't look confident in the second half of the season. The entire team fell apart. He's agreeing with you on that for the Philadelphia Eagles. Does Saquon make a difference? Yeah, I mean, they were saying Saquon was brought in to keep Jalen Hurts healthy. I get it. You got a really good running back there, but it's just the ego thing. We got to see what happens with the ego thing. One more bold prediction from NFL.com. Judy Batista says the Cowboys lose in the NFC East. They lose the NFC East, make an early playoff exit, fire Mike McCarthy. That's a lot. And hire Bill Belichick for 2025.
Who asked that question?
That is a bold prediction from Judy Batista on NFL.com. That's her bold Cowboy prediction. So we're going to go around the horn on this one, because do you guys buy or sell the fact that the Cowboys lose the NFC East, make an early playoff exit, so they make the playoffs, fire Mike McCarthy, and bring in Bill Belichick in 2025? Who wants to go first on this awesome subject?
I'll go because I'm going to be quick. Man, I'm not a big Cowboy fan, but every year, man, like I just see them. They've continued to get better. And now with giving, they're going to have to take care of CD, of course, and they're going to have to take care of Dak and Micah. I think they put something good together. But as we know, they say Stephen A. Smith voice, whatever can go wrong will. and I hate to upset the people here in San Antonio. I know they're big Cowboy fans, but yes, I think they come up short again. And I do think that Bill's still out there for a reason. Here's the thing, though. If they struggle early, will they even go through the whole season with McCarthy if Bill Belichick is ready to come out of retirement and coach? And I call it retirement because he hasn't officially retired. So he's obviously still looking for a job.
Yeah, he's going to be coaching next year. Just a matter of where will he be coaching. Before we get to Gio, McCarthy is gone in that scenario. That's what Little Max says. Gazzato Zay is saying Bill and Jerry Jones, LMFA. That's laughable. I mean, it's laughable, but who knows? Little Max also saying Belichick would be the all-in Jerry keeps talking about. I mean, we've always talked egos, coach's ego along with Jerry Jones just doesn't work. I mean, Bill Belichick after Jimmy Johnson was the biggest ego coach that Jerry brought in.
Well, Switzer now Barry got a little ego as well.
Barry did, but are you going to kill me for saying this, Derek? Barry kind of got the Steve Kerr treatment where he kind of came into a built team and kind of laid it, rode it to a Super Bowl. That's kind of the way I feel about Barry, but I never expected Barry to be, a full Cowboys coach for a very, very long time.
Barry Sarkisian, man.
Exactly, man. Exactly like that. So I don't know, the Belichick Jones thing, that's kind of a tough one for me. I think maybe Jerry would be okay with Bill coming in. I think Stephen Jones has a little bit more on that back end. Tell Jerry, look, let him come in. You know what he's accomplished. It's really the only way we're going to be able to get the most out of all of our players. But Gio, are you buying or selling? Judy's saying the Cowboys lose the NFC East. I'm buying that. Make an early playoff exit. I'm buying that. Fire Mike McCarthy. I'm buying that. Hire Bill Belichick for 2025. I don't know if I'm buying that, but I'm gonna say that I'm gonna charge that, and if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna call for a charge back.
I said recently the Cowboys are not going to make the playoffs. So
you did say that.
I believe they're not going to. I think this potentially could be a disastrous season. I think Jerry's preparing for it, as his whatever that press conference that I watched earlier was. I don't know what that was.
We got to get into that.
Just talking in syllables and saying this and that, comparing himself to Mahomes. They're going to fire Mike McCarthy, though. I see it coming, whether it's during the season. Jerry normally doesn't do that towards the end of the season. And Bill Belichick, I just don't see that, Rudy, because Bill wants total control.
Yeah.
And Jerry right now, from what I'm seeing, wants to continue to control the team. And Bill wants total. They're going to have to come to an agreement. Another coach, though, guys, don't forget, Bill Parcells is his own man. He tried it in Dallas. It worked for a little bit, but Bill Parcells got tired and ended up just leaving from the Cowboys. Just didn't work out. So Bill Parcells, another guy that came in who was his own man, and Jerry Jones has press conferences after the game. What type of owner has a press conference after a game? It's just but anyway, Cowboys ain't making the playoffs. I stand by that. We'll see what happens. But I don't think Bill Belichick is the right man for the job. I don't know who is right now. You know, Kellen Moore's gone. He's now the offensive coordinator in Philadelphia. I thought he could potentially be it. Your boy, former Falcons coach, he's in Washington now, Rudy. So
he gone.
It's interesting to see what the Cowboys potentially could do in the future. Any idea?
Kirby.
Oh no, Kurt! Listen,
Hey,
don't start these rumors, Derek.
Money, hey.
Don't start this rumor, Derek. I don't know. Kirby's talked about his time with the Dolphins. I just don't see him leaving Georgia. What he has going there, he's the top, kind of close to the mountaintop. I find it hard to believe.
What if you made him the highest paid coach in the league? Do you think he would even consider it at this time? Because hasn't he pretty much done? Basically, he's already cemented himself in Georgia.
Oh yeah,
don't you think that wouldn't you even entertain the idea if they threw the bag at you and telling you you're ready to coach America's team? You would at least have to consider it, right?
Maybe 5 or 6 years. I just don't see it right now. I just think right now what Georgia's looking like. I know Rudy doesn't think so, but they're going to be the favorite in the SEC along with Texas and Alabama.
Yeah.
Well, they
but
are.
I just don't see. I mean, Rudy, right now for Kirby to leave, to go to Dallas to have to deal with those shenanigans, to leave Athens. I've been there. It's a pretty place. It doesn't make any sense.
It's a smart move. Derek's right. It's a very smart move for Kirby to leave, but Kirby leaves Georgia to come to Dallas once the smoke is cleared. Who his quarterback's going to be? You have your QB signed, you have your receiver signed, you have your defense in place. He's not going to come into this turmoil right now. That's ridiculous, man. For him to come into the turmoil part, I think he comes in later on, possibly.
I agree with that because he might be learning from the JJ Redick situation.
Oh,
and I can understand that they still have too many question marks for him to uproot and leave. I can believe that. I can go with that.
And that's the same reason why, my mind just went blank. Old boy from UConn, Hurley.
Hurley.
Yeah, he didn't take the Lakers job as well because he felt that there was a lot of turmoil. There's a lot of stuff that's uncertainty in LA. So definitely, that's why I think Kirby wouldn't go. Joel Colon had a couple of comments here. He says, I'm late to the party tonight, but Belichick couldn't be the Cowboys coach because Jerry won't stay out of the way like Kraft did. That's the problem. I don't know if Jerry could stay out of the way. And he could see Riverboat Ron as a potential Cowboys head coach.
Rivera?
I wouldn't. That's what he's saying. Riverboat Ron Rivera as a Cowboys coach.
I thought about him. I just didn't mention him.
I could see Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator from the Lions. I know Derek, he's over there running the show. Mike Vrabel, though Mike's a chip off of Belichick. Mm-hmm. Remember what the Titans ownership said, that Mike wasn't a team type of coach, and they ended up letting him go. So I don't see Vrabel there. But
team type of coach.
Mike he's not going to socialize. He's not that type. He wants to do
Mark
his own
Jackson of NFL.
Exactly. Vrabel wants to do his own thing. He wants to run his own stuff. And it sounded to me ownership was just kind of bugging in. But I like Ben Johnson for a potential kind of replacement there because, look, he's one of the best coordinators in the league right now with one of the best offenses in the league. So I could definitely see Jerry coming in. You have the OC for the Eagles, Shane something, whatever his name. But Any big name coaches, Rudy, you think would come out of retirement?
Retirement? Oh my God.
Nick Saban? No, I'm just kidding. Not Nick Saban. He's not coming out.
No, Saban.
Mac Brown, where are you?
Mac Brown would be a great one.
He's about 80 now.
Man.
Jeff Fisher, baby. Come on, 7-9. Jeff, come back.
Yeah. Jeff Fisher.
Hey, but honestly, why do you think? Is it because I thought at one point last year, Jerry had kind of stepped back and let Steven Steven has started taking over more. That's why I'm surprised. I didn't see this interview you guys are talking about because Jerry got kind of quiet in the second half of the season last year. And we didn't see his face every time you look around. And I think the guys kind of did well after that. They responded well. So I'm hoping, don't you guys think that Steven has more of a voice now?
That's what I was saying. If you have any indication, and I like Little Mac's comment about Mike Zimmer as well, that's a good one to come into play as well. But the thing too is that's where I was saying about Belichick. I know the Belichick-Jerry relationship would never work. But because I feel the same way you feel, Derek, that Steven has more of a voice now than Jerry did. He's actually doing a lot more for the Cowboys. I think Steven would be able to talk to Jerry and be like, look, if we bring Bill in, Bill needs to have control. You can do your press conference and do whatever you want, but you've got to allow Bill to be Bill. And that's where I think the voice of reason for a Belichick Cowboy, partnership, that's where it falls, and that's where it lays, is on Steven Jones.
If I'm the Cowboys, go young. There's so many good young offensive guys in the league, and we've already talked about Ben Johnson, but you got the Bobby over there, the offensive coordinator for the Texans. I mean, get a young guy in there. Don't start hiring these retread coaches. I mean,
young like a Deion Sanders.
Oh no, hell no!
Here comes.
You don't think they would even consider Deion?
Oh. They would consider it, but if you think that the Cowboys are, in shambles now, you bring in Deion. Guess what? You bring in Deion, he's gonna walk into that locker room and be like, "All right, I don't need you guys. I'm bringing in my own players." That's the first thing he's gonna do, man.
The NFL's different. Deion knows he might be able to talk to a 17, 18-year-old, but he can't talk to grown men like that. That's gonna be different.
But you're talking about, okay, look at the college coaches. Name me college coaches who have come from the college ranks to the NFL ranks and has had success. Not named Pete Carroll.
Jimmy Johnson.
Okay, Jimmy's one, but Pete Carroll he was an NFL coach, went to the college ranks, came back, he succeeded in the NFL. Jimmy Johnson's one. Name another one.
Harbaugh.
Harbaugh, I mean, I would give you Harbaugh.
I mean, he did win the national championship.
Yeah, but I mean, Harbaugh was already a head coach previously.
He was a head coach with Kingsbury Housewives, Rudy.
Yeah, I mean, Kingsbury, maybe.
I said Housewives, not as a coach. You see the house they gave him.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
I know that.
Are there anybody out there right now?
I mean, but you mentioned like Deion, or somebody mentioned Deion about here. Deion's a mess of a coach. That's what I'm saying. Deion as an NFL coach, I'd rather have Deion as a coordinator more than I would as an NFL head coach. The guy would lose the locker room in a matter of seconds. I mean, he loses the damn locker room in college. That is to me just would never. Deion will never be an NFL coach, and if he is, hopefully it's not with the Falcons. But if he is ever an NFL coach, it's going to be a struggle.
Well,
for
both
him.
You guys are on your football stuff, so if you look at it going into this season, they already have to have a plan, someone in mind in case McCarthy doesn't work out. And if they get off to a slow start, there has to be someone out there that they've already set their eyes on.
Rudy, there was a report, I think a few months ago, that came out that McCarthy's tired of Jerry's comments and antics and some sort of stuff that he says out there to the press. Now, I don't know if Mike said it or not. It sounded like he did say it because I could see that because Jerry's always saying something about McCarthy. And look, McCarthy, for what it's worth, Rudy, they've won a lot of games. They're winning games. They're getting now in the postseason. They're not doing anything. But I think this is Mike's last year. I just don't see it. Another guy to think of, Rudy, Tom Coughlin was at Boston College. He did have success in the NFL, but yeah, the list is very, very small.
It's a very, very small list, man. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I think you can go. Why? I mean, you wouldn't go with Eric Bieniemy. He's thrown out there a lot as a potential head coach. I don't know if you'd go with Eric Bieniemy right now. I mean, guys, you want young guys. What? Bobby Slowick, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got Bobby from the Texans. You got Ben Johnson from the Lions. I think that could be a very good candidate. I know Byron Leftwich got kind of the boot there in Tampa, got blamed for stuff that he shouldn't have been blamed for. There's some other coordinators out there. I just think for the Cowboys, going younger, right?
What about McDaniel? That's perfect right there.
Who?
McDaniel from Miami. Because Miami doesn't seem to be getting it done. So I kind of have a feeling he might be on the hot seat.
I don't see them getting rid of. I think he's right now a made man from what they've done offensively. Yes, it hasn't translated to postseason success, but
I'm going to give both you guys a scenario here because this is very. And I see Tim Gonzalez. He's screaming in the chat about Ryan Days out of Ohio State. Ryan Days is going to be a college coach forever. I don't see him as an NFL coach anytime soon. So I think
if he don't win the Big Ten, I don't know, man. I could see it.
He could potentially be fired, but I don't see him as an NFL head coach. There's no way I would see Ryan Days as that. So I would definitely not consider Ryan Days a candidate here. But let me play this scenario out for you. Every single year, you see a Ravens team dominate. And every single year, they seem to fail in the playoffs. At what point does ownership say, you know what, we need to move on from Harbaugh? Because they're getting everything they can out of Lamar, but they're still not winning. They lost McQueen. They lost a couple of guys on defense. So their defense is going to struggle this year. It's not going to be one of the better defenses in the league. They did upgrade a running back with Derrick Henry. Now, I know the Henry-Lamar Jackson combo, that's going to be deadly, when running the ball. That's going to be awesome for them. But if they come up short again, Harbaugh could be gone after this season. And I'm going to let you guys in on a little thing that I've got. My bold prediction, I don't see the Ravens making the playoffs.
Oh, my goodness.
I see them as potentially being the fourth best team in that division.
We coming off a Lamar MVP season. Oh boy!
But look at the
I can
defense.
see it.
Their defense took a back seat, They take a way back step on that.
I think right now, Rudy, Cleveland's defense is probably the best. If you're looking like up front, like
followed by
trenches,
Pittsburgh.
Maybe in the league,
followed by Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Eric's right.
And the Bengals, we'll see what happens there. Their defense last year, obviously, with not having Joe Burrow, put yourself in bad spots. But the Bengals will be back. I can see Rudy's point here. The Ravens could be potentially, and the last place could be a team that just barely misses the playoffs. Right? It could be a team that's right there.
Yeah.
But look, they got Todd Monken there as the OC, came from Georgia. I like a lot what I saw last season. But in that playoff game, it's just trying to outdo Mahomes in that second half. It just fell flat. What do they do next, Rudy? What's the next evolution?
That's what I'm saying. There's Lamar. Harbaugh's had enough time with Lamar. When you're talking about Lamar Jackson and 2 MVPs, you should have already figured Harbaugh would have been able to have gotten him to a Super Bowl appearance by now. It hasn't happened. So, and that's what I'm saying. At what point does ownership say, you know what? It's been great. You brought us a Super Bowl. Obviously, you brought us some wins, but we're just not getting over that hump. They're not going to let go of Lamar. So they're going to have to make a change somewhere. And I feel that Harbaugh might be that change, man.
I think the thing is, Rudy, their offense is kind of stuck in a sense where what else can you do, right? I remember the whole Robert Griffin thing, right? Robert Griffin goes to Shanahan and says, hey, I want to be a Peyton Manning style, whatever the case may be. And what happens? Doesn't work, gets hurt, and the rest is history, right? Like,
Yeah.
I just think Lamar just has to continue to improve, and that's obviously throwing the football. Now, listen, he can throw it when he's hot, Rudy, and he's throwing to Andrews.
Oh yeah.
And he's throwing
Yeah.
to these guys. It's really good, but for some reason, towards the end of the season and the postseason, you know,
It goes away.
it just tends to go away, and I don't know what's. He kind of reverts back to his old self. I don't know.
That's
I don't
not
wanna,
a good thing. That's not a good thing when you're talking about a guy been in there as long as Lamar.
And
you
look, I
still
got a
talking
lot of
about
respect.
improvement. No, I ain't
got
saying
a lot of
what you
respect.
saying is great. That's kind of scary for the Ravens that you're still talking about an MVP and you're still talking about improvement.
2
So-
MVPs.
No, I'm
Two-
with you. I've
That's a
never
lot
been
of credit.
For some reason, I've never been sold on Lamar. I'm not saying he's a running back, but I've always had a problem with him and Cam Newton when it comes to throwing into those tight windows. And I know he played better this year. He was a better quarterback, but I've never really been on the bandwagon. But I got to say they make the playoffs, though. I got to at least give them that.
It's going to be tough.
It's
I think
gonna
Joe
be-
Burrow,
Yeah.
I mean,
the
Joe
best
might-
division. The best division in
division.
football is the
and
AFC
Joe might
North
be
right
in a
now.
lot of shootouts. I don't know what to expect from that defense. From Little Max says they're not going to be very good. We'll see. But the Bengals' defense probably going to be towards the end with the Ravens.
Yeah.
I don't know what Lamar is. It's crazy, Derek. Is like a 2-time MVP. It's like what else? But they got to something just has to change with the offense. It's gotten better. Don't get me wrong, but it's just man, something's
So
just
the-
always missing.
I agree with you. Every year, see, we try to put our finger on it. It's hard to put your finger on. I agree with you 100%.
It's like we keep saying the Ravens, and it just seems to always falter. And that's where, yeah, exactly. That's where it's always like, well, okay, at what point? It's the same thing like the Cowboys. At what point do you stop saying, okay, next year? You're talking about firing Mike McCarthy after this season. The same talk, the same kind of, heat and talk and everything should be on Harbaugh. It's not getting 2-time MVP. The Dallas Cowboys don't have an MVP. They have a runner-up of an MVP in Dak Prescott. The Ravens have a 2-time MVP, and they're still not getting it done.
So you guys saying if the Ravens struggle, so John Harbaugh gonna be that guy that Jerry and Steven make the call to?
Could it be? I mean, I'm throwing it out there. If you don't like it, throw it back.
I can
mean,
see
that's
John
what I'm saying.
Harbaugh. I can see John Harbaugh maybe coaching the Cowboys if things don't work out with the Ravens this year.
Mike
That'd be
Tomlin could
smart.
be a guy who walks away and maybe
Tomlin's
Jerry
another one.
throws a lot of money at. And look, I think Mike has done a lot with less, especially the last few years. I mean, God, they got to a playoff last season. Tomlin's a good coach. I don't know if Tomlin and Jerry particularly work per se, but
Yeah.
Jerry's getting older. His son is probably running a lot more of the operations these days.
Gio, you picture some of them meetings in the office, huh?
I was just trying to think about Tomlin as like, nah, I don't know about that, Jerry. We'll see.
Steven has to be there as a mediator because those would be some conversations that people would want to have our ear up to the wall for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, man. And I love the comments. We got a bunch of comments in here. Alex Van Pelt by Joel Cologne was thrown out there as a hot commodity. Alex Van Pelt, yeah, I mean, I could definitely see Alex Van Pelt, but I'm going, and I've seen Derrick Henry and Lamar is going to be a problem. That's where I say the Ravens on the offensive side are going to Raven. I mean, they're going to score. When Lamar's on, he's on. The defense took a step back. There's no doubt in my mind, losing the guys that they did on the defensive end. And what's surprising is one of them, I think McQueen went to Pittsburgh and their other star defensive player went to Cincinnati. So they're within the division. I mean, Jerry Mix called a Mike comment. Yeah, I doubt that very seriously. Maybe if Jerry needs something,
I mean, look, maybe a Lincoln Riley, right? We see USC's going to the Big Ten. It's a different brand of football. We'll see how they kind of assimilate there. But I think Lincoln could be
Lincoln has been rumored to be a Cowboys.
Lincoln goes to Dallas. Dion goes to USC.
Oh my God! Rest in peace, Trojans, man. You don't want to do that.
Rudy does not like Dion. I'm interested to see what and this is not a college football show, but I'm interested to see what Colorado does.
4 wins, Gio. 4 wins, man.
I
Come
know.
on.
I find that hard to believe, Rudy. I
They-
really think Colorado can at least get to 6 or 7 wins.
I think the preview came out and it had them at like 5
Rated
wins.
to win 5 games.
Yeah, that's 5 wins, man. I mean, that's bad. That's bad in its own, man. I honestly, I don't know how much longer Dion stays at Colorado, to put it out there. Another losing season. Does he really want to stick to Colorado once Hunter's gone, once Shador's gone? I'm going to say
guys
what I said
really
before.
think with that roster and the improvement and the recruiting they've done, they're gonna go 4-8. I think they get to a bowl game.
conference this coming year, Gio.
They're not, but the Big 12 don't play any defense. I mean,
It
the
doesn't
Pac-12 played
matter.
some of them played some defense.
You like Shador, and it's funny because I hear you guys. Rudy's not sold on Shador. You are. And
I
I'm
like what I
really-
see.
I'm in the middle because I've seen some things from Shador, but I don't know, man. I think maybe they can work with him, but I think he holds the ball too long. But he does have a lot of potential. So
Yeah.
I'm in the middle on that one.
I just think with his dad being in the NFL, and I think another year, right? He goes from HBCU, and what? He goes right into the Pac-12, and really, this is the Pac-12's probably best year as a whole in a while. I mean, Washington Huskies get to the championship.
Yeah, to Oregon.
You know, they beat Texas, Oregon with Bo Nix being 40 years old. I mean, they had an opportunity to really. They got kind of thrown in there. And look, for what it's worth, I always say they beat TCU, the defending, whatever
Gio,
thing you
jump-
want to say.
You
but
need
they
to
were there.
jump off of that bandwagon because TCU ended the season at what, 4 wins, 5 wins?
Well,
they
yeah,
were
they
horrible
clearly
this
had a
past
down year. And look, they got Pat Shermer as the offensive coordinator. He was in the NFL for a while for reasons he just
Isn't
didn't
Warren
work out.
Sapp the defensive
Warren
coordinator
Sapp
or
is on
something?
there. Look, I
Mm.
like this coaching staff. They got Jason Phillips. Look, we're gonna see Rudy. I can't wait for college football.
Feels like
It's Kyle-
JJ Redick all over again. All the
It-
assistant coaches are awesome, except the head coach is, it is what it is.
I mean, look, I like their schedule. I think they got a good shot here to make a bowl game, and for a team that just went what? They won 1 game, Rudy.
Yeah.
What, 2 years ago? I think Dion's heading in the right direction.
Well, they won 1 game before Dion. They won 4 games after Dion. So I guess a 3-game improvement is it's huge. It's awesome.
It's huge, and some of those games were also close. I mean, if you go look at that schedule from last year, Rudy, they were there in some of those games. Yeah, they got blown out. They got blown out at Washington State up there in I think it's Pullman, whatever. But I think they got a good shot.
I can't wait till we get into our college football preview talk here. It's going to be pretty soon here because we got to get into some college football talk. But nonetheless, it's interesting to see what's going to happen in the NFL because there's guys that are really not technically on the hot seat, but the seat's kind of burning. It's getting a little warm, and those guys are, like I said, Harbaugh in Baltimore. Tomlin, not so much on the hot seat, but you're right. I mean, he's got the mindset of he's almost got what, Gio, like the Jeff Fisher mindset right now. I'm gonna win, but I'm not gonna win, a whole bunch of games. I'm gonna do enough to get into the playoffs. I'm gonna do enough to do this. So he might be tired of Pittsburgh. So you may see some of these big time coaches become available. But it's interesting to see about the Baltimore take. Derek's having a hard time seeing that Baltimore may not make the playoffs, but we'll see, Derek. That's why they play the games, and that's why they happen on Sundays and Saturdays and Thursdays and all these other days, Monday night. We got to see what happens, man. We got to see what happens with Baltimore.
They don't make it. You know what's going to happen to that? The entire team is going to be a makeup. Somebody's going to be, a lot of people are going to be, heads will roll if they don't even make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that starts with Harbaugh.
And that's where I think the Harbaugh effect comes in. He's going to probably end up losing his job there. So if that's the case, then the Cowboys have a massive amount of options to go. They got a lot of young coaches. I wouldn't mind seeing Harbaugh in Dallas. That would actually propel them to another level, I think, in Dallas. And then there you go. Who knows what happens after that? I know one thing that happens is tomorrow is Friday for our Friday edition of Sweep the League. We end the week on a bang. And we're going to be talking probably some more NFL talk, maybe some college football talk. We'll get into as much talk as you want. It's Friday. This show is for you. It's for the people, by the people. It's for you guys. We are always talking about what you guys want to talk about here on Sweep the League. We appreciate everybody joining tonight. 52 people on the live stream all night. That's great. Fantastic. We support you guys. Shout out to our sponsors, MCS General Contracting, Special Leaf Tea, Castro and Sons Solar, La Cocina Taco Truck. Again, apologize. StreamYard's kind of been acting up tonight, so couldn't really play the commercials. But again, we will double blast everything on social media for you guys to make up for tonight. But until we see everybody tomorrow, everybody have a safe Thursday night. We will see you guys tomorrow. Big things on the horizon. We've got some guests coming on. We're just trying to get the dates settled as well for these guys and girls to come on the show. So be on the lookout. Tons of coverage.
For me, I'll see you guys Monday because remember, tomorrow is my Friday night. We have a game tomorrow at 9 p.m.
Yeah, good luck to Derek.
So
Tomorrow's
game.
Tell
everybody have a safe weekend, and you guys
Derek,
keep it up. Yes, sir.
I want you to get a tech tomorrow.
No, I can't do it, man. I laugh too much, man, to get texts because hey, Gio, you know the reason. Seriously, I try to stay cool with the referees because I tell the players, man, you know the refs make mistakes, the players make mistakes, the coaches make mistakes, and in life there's going to be mistakes, but you got to be able to just shake it off and move on to the next play. And I tell the guys that all the time, and I mean that because referees get enough with some of the people, these fans out here berating the referees night after night. So I kind of try to ease their burden a little bit and make them still remember that they're appreciated, man.
It is. I don't think I've seen Derek coach, Gio, and there's moments where I thought maybe he will get a tech, but he's right. He's never going to get a tech. He'll never get a technical foul, man. He can't do it. So that's why he's going to hire me as an assistant so I can get the tech.
And then I'll turn my head and walk down to the other end.
Hey, getting that guy from Sweep the League.
Yeah, I would go Bobby Knight and start throwing chairs.
Yo, you're going to make me wear my shirt to the game tomorrow, man. I'm advertising. I'm Sweep the League tomorrow. But no, on a serious note, everybody I'll miss you all tomorrow, but keep supporting these guys, please, because I think they're the best. And I think we have the best show in town. And when I say town, I mean all around. And I think the show is going to continue to grow. And I can't do it without these two guys. I love both these guys. And I think we're moving up. We're moving up.
Yeah, it shows. Our YouTube, definitely go to YouTube and search at Sweep the League TV. Subscribe. We're up to 150 subscribers now. In about a month and a half's time, that's a lot. That's a lot in a month and a half's time of getting all these subscribers. So appreciate everybody subscribing. Keep subscribing. We're giving away prizes. Our Madden giveaway is coming up in August here. We're giving away a copy of Madden. We just recently gave away a copy of College Football 25. We just gave away an Amazon gift card this past Monday. Madden's the next big giveaway we're giving away. But like we always end the show here, if we get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, you share it out, you get those subscribers up. 1K is cold, hard cash, man. Everybody wants cash. So we're going to be giving away some cash here at Super League. We get to 1,000 subscribers. So till tomorrow's show, we'll talk to Derek on Monday or next week for sure. We'll see if Gio's going to be back tomorrow. If not, we're going to talk some college football. We're going to talk some NFL. We're going to get into everything that we can tomorrow. Get you ready for the weekend. Olympics are around the corner. Hopefully Team USA can stick it together and get that gold. But we know how I feel about that. If you don't, we'll get into it tomorrow. So for Hall of Famer Derek Gervin, the coach, the Hall of Fame coach, Coach Gio, the sports break kid, Rudy Campos Jr. Until we see you again tomorrow. We'll see you later, guys.
Guys, have a good night.